Amanda Land, Amanda Land, Amanda Land.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Views from Amanda Land, your news and views from the by any joke necessary. And thank you for waking up on the right side of history. We continue today with our week-long discussion class so that I can have a little break. And there was some good insight added last night. I mean, not last night, but yesterday around how we could improve this. And so one of the things was to add a moderator. And the other was to play some music. So I will make both of those things happen. There is so much going on. I can't even pronounce your name, but it's like Adadama 20. There's so much going on that it is man, it's I don't even want to say like, oh, it's like hard to keep up, because that's not really the point. The point is more so that it makes it seem like there's nowhere to really direct your energy that could be effective. And I think that's ideally what they're trying to do. But I know that, oh my gosh, Phosphatari, Neon was your joint? Ah, that's what's up. That's what's up. But that being said, I feel like it's also, Paloma just said, it's bringing out people's true colors, and it's kind of necessary for there to be this it's like the popping of a pimple, you know? It's the popping of a pimple. And I know that a lot of Americans don't realize that this happens in other countries and has been happening because of America for a very long time. And it was only a matter of time before it was our turn. That's just the long and short of it. It was only a matter of time before it was our turn. So this is the time. And I had somebody last night on live say, oh, well, we could have stalled this out, though, if we had voted for Kamala. One, I need y'all to really understand, this election was rigged. I don't know how y'all don't see that. This election was rigged. How do y'all not see that? The man said it mad times, and now they're doing it. So I
Oh my God, why is this happening?
I don't understand why we're still having that conversation. It's stupid. And now I'm in trouble for saying that the 92% of Black women commentary around, we did what we need to do sounds stupid. Now I'm in trouble for that. Yeah, I'm in trouble for that. So I'll talk about that during my PSA at the end of the show. We'll get into my thoughts on that by the end of the show. Today, we are talking about climate change. So that's what we're going to talk about. And I know that there's a young lady who keeps running my name, because she wants clicks. That's what she wants. It's not that she really cares about what I'm saying. She just wants clicks, and that's really the thing these days. I've become somewhat of a leftist kundis to the establishment Blacks that think that they're smart because now all of a sudden politics is a part of their conversation because a Black woman was running for president. Um, and what I think is really unfortunate is that people who I constantly have supported, who I have shown love to, find it so casual and so easy to defame me or to attempt to discredit me. And they do so on the internet because it's like it's a passive method of doing so. You know, that's really why they do it, because it's not really having to do it. So they do it on the internet. And they're like, well, I can do it as well as get clicks. Like that's and it's, that's the world we're in now, y'all. So it is what it is. God bless them. And I mean it when I say God bless them, because when you don't know who your enemies are, you become your enemy. When you don't know who your enemies are, you become your enemy. This is because your energy is displaced into efforts that do not help you. You become your enemy. So it is incredibly important that you discern who really is your energy. Like, who is your enemy? Who are you really fighting against? For people who feel like for Black women particularly, who feel like I am their enemy, you are your own enemy, because you seem to think that I am against you. And that is a complete fallacy that is a result of your own ignorance around who really is there for you and who's not there for you. And then you get mad when I say that that's ignorance. But this is, people should be paying me a percentage for the way that they're using my name to get clicks. I should genuinely get a percentage. I'm not even like bullshitting. I should get a percentage. The amount of people who have decided that hating on Amanda Seales and her commentary versus even attempting to understand it is somehow like valuable is it's like, it's weird. My mom hits me every day like, these people keep putting your name in their mouth. Yeah, because I've become like the hot topic to hate on. Now, mind you, there are a number of individuals out here who are actually anti-Black, who make concerted efforts to put forth disinformation, who make concerted efforts to align themselves with anti-Black fascists, government officials, etc. Okay? There are a number of them who weaponize their Blackness within those spaces to actually harm Black people. However, it is easier. It is easier for these people to say, well, I will talk about something Amanda Seales said that I don't understand, than to fact check those other people, because they don't even know how those people are wrong. That's why. And it feels, I think it feels really good to a number of Black people to like stand for particularly like Kamala Harris. I think that feels really authentic to them in like that for them feels like I'm standing on business. That for them feels like I am representing our people. And I think that at the end of the day, I'm also light-skinned, so I have access to a certain type of privilege that when I am being subversive and I am speaking outside of the what's accepted status quo of where Black people should be standing, it's like I am exercising my privilege. That's what it looks like for folks who don't really understand what I'm saying. Um and as Black women, I can say that we have absolutely had a track record of standing in the gap for the most marginalized, of standing in the gap for the realities of oppression and discrimination. And we 1000% should have credit for that. And it is tiring and exhausting to always be on that. That being said, we also have a history of harming each other. We also, as Black women, have a history of really banding together to discredit those of us who may be speaking outside of what is considered to be acceptable. And we do this, and then we act like we didn't do it. Okay? Because at one point in time, people was not rocking with Alice Walker. So the fact that now it's like Alice Walker is one of our greatest icons and idols, etc., is because she just was who she was, and she wasn't switching that up for nobody. But there was a time where many were like, "Oh my God, she's doing too much. She's bringing in concepts into the zeitgeist that are beyond what we have already accepted as acceptable." Yes. Okay? There was a time when Black women were outside protesting Anita Hill. Yes. They were outside protesting Anita Hill because they said that she was standing to bring down a Black man. And now, so many of us are like, see, Anita Hill told you. And it's the younger generations who are now older and are able to conceptualize with hindsight. So I have a certain level of grace, by the way, for those who are in the current state right now, unable to understand what I'm saying, because I've always been ahead of my time. I've always been ahead of my time. And I understand that I exist in this time so that I can lay a groundwork for the future to be able to actually reference. I understand that. So I give them grace. And I know that they will take that as me being elitist. I know they will take that as me trying to say they're ignorant, et cetera, et cetera. And that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we here in this nation have been indoctrinated for centuries, and it takes a lot to undo that. A lot. And it takes individuals, it takes organization, it takes education in order to undo that. Over the course of time, we have seen these individuals come forth, and we have seen how they have actively been shunned. I don't know if y'all know, but like the older Blacks, the literal old Negroes, they was not rocking with Langston Hughes. They was not rocking with Langston Hughes. They wasn't rocking with none of the younger Black folks that was in the Harlem Renaissance. They was like, you're doing too much. You're acting up. You're being too loud. Cut it out. Cut it out. Bayard Rustin was the literal architect of the March on Washington. The Blacks of that time who had the ear, right? Who were, and we're talking about Martin Luther King. We're talking about Adam Clayton Powell Jr. We're talking about, I'm missing names, but these were the people, like the head of the NAACP, et cetera, who were 1000% like, nah, Bayard, you're doing too much and you gay, cut it out. And they really made an effort to threaten Martin Luther King, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., saying that, if you stand with Bayard instead of standing with us, we're going to defame you. So I am not disillusioned. I'm not disillusioned by the reality of my existence as somebody that has continuously been attempted to be defamed and discredited by my own people. I'm also not disillusioned that they are still my people. And I understand that and I know that. Okay? Like, and so I also know, and this is the real beauty of awakening. The real beauty of awakening is realizing that your people are bigger than just the people who you share an existence and experience with. That is what Malcolm experienced when he went on Hajj. When he went to Mecca, he understood my people is beyond simply just Black people. My people are those who understand what is necessary. That's who my people are. My people are those who understand what is necessary. And some will watch this and say, well, who are you to know what is necessary? I am not an individual in that. And that is the beauty of knowing who your people are. I am not an individual in that. I know who my people are because I have found them. Things that I thought were just my thoughts, I understood were not simply my thoughts. There were a whole people that understood this. And then you begin to understand that those people and you are the continuation of a whole people that have always understood this. There have always been people that understood what is necessary. And those are the people that allow us to continue to be here. During slavery, there were people who understood what is necessary. And you know what they were told? They were told that you're going to mess it up for all of us. We finally got massa to stop whipping us. They were told you're thinking way too crazy out the box. What you mean you're going to follow the stars? You're bugging. They were told you are stirring up trouble. But they knew what was necessary. They knew what was necessary. There will always be people that know what is necessary. They continue to be ignored, and they will be unless humanity figures it out. Okay? Today, we are discussing climate change. We're discussing climate change because it is commonly left out of the conversation around what is necessary, particularly when we are talking about aspects of race, when we are talking about aspects of gender, when we are talking about the ways in which these things are discriminated against. And when we talk about climate change, we are so often speaking about it in a silo, as this thing that we're addressing over here until we get back to the thing that we're talking about. So we're going to talk about that today. I want to just for a moment thank everyone who has in these comments, supported and given me encouragement, whether in these comments or in other ways. And, anyone who makes it their business to go onto these pages and, interject some enlightenment. But I just know that I don't expect you to go over there and shade them for me or, talk crazy to them for me, because that's not necessary. They will not break me. They will not break me. I thought at one point they would. They will not break me. And for what it's worth, I wish them, honestly, I wish them the best. And I hope that they find, I hope that they find a better source for their content. Because again, like the great Prince once said, when you play me, you're playing yourself. All right. Where's everybody joining us from today? Where is everybody joining us from today? I'm feeling so much better because I really feel like I have cracked the code, and I feel like what I'm experiencing is vitamin D deficiency, which I used to experience when I lived in New York in the past. So I looked up the symptoms, and yes, that is possibly what's going on. So I've been making it my business to get my vitamin D in, and I want to thank all of y'all who have been like, Amanda, why aren't you taking a break? I appreciate you. Okay. So shout out to Paloma repping from Tucson. We got Huntsville, Alabama in the building. We got Atlanta. We got Chicago, aka Chi-Town, South Jersey, San Diego. Good morning from Mac City. I don't even know what Mac City is. What is Mac City? STL, St. Louis with the snow, Alabama, Stockholm, Sweden. We got Rhode Island. Lexi said that vitamin D deficiency is real. I think it really is, because now that I've been, even in the last 24 hours since I've made an actual commitment to addressing it, feeling better. We got DC in the building. We got Brooklyn in North Carolina. We got Connecticut. We got Houston, one of the cities facing environmental racism to this day. So I hope that you'll be in the chat talking. We got Baltimore. Rolando asked, can we get Australia today? And Rolando is your moderator today. Foxy Roxy's repping from BK. Brenda said, what would Tabitha Brown do? Because they always want me to respond as Tab. And it's like, I'm not Tab, but we come from the same place, which is love. We got Baltimore, baby. We got Riverside, California, Columbus, Ohio. We got Lafayette, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Columbus, Ohio. So we are really in the United States building today, okay? We got, look at all these folks all over the United States. Thank you, Tiffany. We got the BX Metro Atlanta. We got Nova DA Detroit. What up, though? Philly, it is not 1 degree in Kansas. Gross. Do we have internationals in here? Do we have any internationals in here? Tiffany's in her office before class. We got Mexico. All right. And Isabel said, I'm in old Mexico, aka Texas. That still counts. It still counts. We're gonna give that a ding. Who else? Someone said Jersey exit 9. You said I'm gonna give you. Oh, we do have Stockholm, Sweden. That's right. That's right. We do have some international in the building. International Stockholm, Sweden. We got St. Martin. Humera is always joining us. Shout out to St. Martin in the Dutch Caribbean. And let's see if we have any more internationals. T said it may not be necessary, but we ride for you, Miss Seals. Thank you. Thank you. I think basically it's just the reality that you know, when you ride for folks, it says who you are. So that's why people be feeling like, okay, I can ride for Kamala, like that's safe, that makes sense, that's easy, right? That's what that is. It's safe, that makes sense, that's easy. I don't know if you've noticed, but like people are all of a sudden talking about Palestine because now it's Trump who's the bad guy talking about it. But when it was Biden talking about Palestine, y'all had nothing to say. That says a lot about you. Shout out to London. Oh my God, Rolando, we did it! We have Australia in the building. Yay! Oh man, look at that. We got London and Australia. Man, all we need is the North. I gotta start watching Game of Thrones again because I need to just get back to my my joy space with Game of Thrones. But thank you. Regulators bound up. Oh man, but the truth is that we're all here together regardless, whether we like it or not. So at some point it just makes sense to say, hey, what are we gonna do different? Oh, we got the continent in the building! Reese, I cannot do a northern accent, a Liverpool accent, a Scouse accent. I can't do it. I sound Scottish. It's close. It's like close to Scottish, but it's not, and that's Irish right there. So, I've got to work on it. But the Scouse accent is really my favorite. Well, anyways, there's there's a word of the day that I feel like, oh man, thank you so much. It's 2:30 a.m. in Kenya. Man, this is a superstar Amanda Lander. Jumbo! Jumbo! Jumbo. Liverpool. That's the only thing I can do. Let's get into our word of the day. The word of the day is man. This is a typo. The word is actually ratiocinate. Dang it. Hold on. The word is ratiocinate. And I was typing too fast. And I misspelled the. No, it's radius. No, I did it right. It's ratiocinate. My bad. I did it right. The word is ratiocinate. Okay? Ratiocinate. And ratiocinate means to form judgments by a process of logic and reason. Carol Neon asks a very legitimate question here. When are you going to take time off for real, for real? And I believe that's going to be the first week of March. I think I'm going to take time off for the last 10 days of March, for the first 10 days of March, in order to finish my book on time. That's what I'm going to do. And my fear is that if I take those days off, that y'all won't come back. If I'm being honest, that's my fear. My fear is that if I take those 10 days off, that you won't come back. And that's just me keeping it real. So that's the fear. So here we go. Thank you, Zoo. Thank you. Kishan says, before I debate these trolls in the comments on IG, I take a moment to ratiocinate before presenting my well-reasoned argument. That's right. Miriam says we must ratiocinate with what we ingest with media. That is correct. Who else? Anyone else got any other sentences with ratiocinate? Oh, no, because y'all are in here telling me, we'll be here when you come back. I mean, that's really what it's going to take to finish the book. That's really what it's going to take. I had to keep it a buck with myself. Like, okay, that's really what it's going to take. It's going to take actual time that you are not doing a million things at one time. And, so it's like, even if I can do an hour on live and I can work at the same time that I'm doing the hour on live. And so that's not the same as doing this show, which I absolutely put so much energy in, to making sure that it is robust, that it has like a lot of layers to it, that you're getting the news, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's really kind of difficult for me to do it at the same time that I have this really big thing over my head, which is making sure that the book is at the standard that I feel it needs to be. Yeah. Althea, I have to ratiocinate before arguing with my toddler. Let me tell you something. My ex had a 7-year-old daughter, and I remember one time she came at her face at me, but like in like a real and it was a what do they call it? Like nicety. She came out her face in a real nicety way to me, and I was really about to be like, you know what? And I had to ratiocinate. This is a 7-year-old, Amanda. Please stop. Kennedy said, due to the current state of affairs, I can ratiocinate fascists are running this country. That is, woo, Yolanda, please say this. The Trump administration has a major ratiocinate deficit. Yes. So does the New York Times, by the way. And let's, are you asking me this, or are you asking like the people this? Did you ratiocinate before you voted in the 2024 presidential election, or did you fall for the same hype? Because I will tell you that I did not fall for the same hype. And that was the thing that really made the difference for me. In 2020, I was forced down the road of you need to use your platform to push for Biden because he's our only way out of this mess. And when people say that, Kamala would have stayed this, I think it's really important to just point out history, okay? So Bernie Sanders, I believe, could have won the popular vote, as well as could have done a major shift in the way government operates had he won in 2016. Instead, he was removed, and put in place was Hillary Clinton, who has always been someone who upholds the standard of politics and the deep state and all the things, right? She did not win. Donald Trump won. Of course, I believe that this is orchestrated, but nonetheless, that's the case. Donald Trump wins. Donald Trump wins. He goes on to, during that time, setting a path, okay? Setting a path for a fascist takeover. The reason he keeps saying, I believe, the reason he keeps saying that the election was rigged in 2020 was simply because he was supposed to have continued in 2020 with what he had started in 2016. And for some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason, he was stopped. I believe he was stopped because he wasn't fully committed to doing the bidding. I don't know if you all know this, but when Carson Daly started TRL, he was just a regular guy. But over the course of TRL on MTV, he became bigger than MTV. And after that, MTV made an internal decision to not let any other host ever become that level of famous, which is why TRL went from having one host to several hosts, which is why those several hosts were not on anything else on MTV, which is why those several hosts were rotated out on a regular basis. They were never, ever going to let another person become bigger than MTV. That is what I believe was happening with Donald Trump. He was becoming bigger than the goal of fascism. And he's supposed to be a puppet. So they said, we need to sit you on the bench and get you together. We need to sit you on the bench and get you together if you're going to be in the game. And they spent the next 4 years putting him on the bench and letting him know, we will ruin you if you do not kiss the ring. Look at us. We're about to put you in jail. We will ruin you if you're not about to kiss the ring. And so then when it came time around for that to happen again, during the time of Biden's time in office, when Biden first came in office, he had the House and the Senate. There was a number of things that could have been done, namely ratifying Roe v. Wade. It wasn't done. Immigration policy shifted. Like, all of this happened during the time of Biden's presidency to really, for what it's worth, set things up for what's happening right now. And Biden could have left office earlier and given Kamala a real shot. She could have been properly primaried. He did not. She wasn't properly primaried, probably because they thought maybe she wouldn't actually get the primary nomination, seeing that she didn't get it the last time that she ran. So all of this, by the way, is just me guessing because we don't really know the truth. We'll find it out eventually, but we don't really know the truth. This is me using my skills of pattern recognition, common sense, and critical thinking. So when we talk about the 2024 presidential election and we act as if it's in a silo, it's silly, stupid, and dumb to do so, because the 2024 election was the exact same as the 2020 election, except it was a black woman. That's it. And if you're not asking yourself, why were we in the same situation in 2024 that we were already in 2020, then you're not asking yourself the right questions. You should be asking yourself, why is it that here we are after doing what they said we needed to do in 2020, we're now in the same position again and nothing has been changed. Nothing has been shifted to make us more secure. We put these people in power. Nothing has been shifted. Now, when people ask about harm reduction, you're saying that with the thought process that there was some magical power that voters had to control the outcome of the election. And I just don't understand. I just don't understand how, with all that you're seeing now, you truly believe that the power was ever going to be in the hands of the people in the way of voting on a federal level. It's beyond my scope of comprehension that you believe this. It's nonsense to believe that at this point. Truly. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. This is a nation that operates as a company. That has been going on since the time of Ronald Reagan. And let me make it abundantly clear. The company I don't know if I've ever heard of a company allowing its employees to determine its CEO. I've never heard of a company allowing its employees to determine its board. No, we've never seen that. When we thought we voted for Obama, that was, I think, trickery to make us believe that we were actually doing something when what they really were doing was indoctrinating Black folks to once again moving forward and pushing the agenda of the same establishment that never does anything to push the agenda of Black folks. They're still using us. God damn it. They're still using us. Don't y'all get it? They're still using us, and it's free labor. Yes, they tricked you. They tricked you. They tricked you. They used you as free labor to raise $1 billion to raise over $1 billion for a political party that has made it abundantly clear that they are not going to make any special concessions for you. They're not going to pursue reparations, even though reparations have been pursued successfully for how many other people? They used you. And now y'all be mad at me. Get out of here. And then you be mad at me at saying this, like, well, what's the solution? The solution is to stop being used. The solution is to stop obfuscating. The solution is to stop ostracizing other people because you don't understand what they're saying. Not because you disagree, but because you don't even understand what they're saying. I didn't even mean to go into a rant just now, y'all. Damn. I did not mean to go into a rant just now. Y'all got me on my rant. Oh my God. And I have formed all of these thoughts with deep ratiocination. Okay? With deep ratiocination. I sit every day and think about this stuff. I think about this every day. Come on. I need to transcribe that rant and put it on Substack. That's what I need to do. I need to transcribe that and put it on Substack. You know, when Carla says there is no need to vote anymore, first of all, your local elections and state, you should always be voting. But what really should be happening is there should be a real, genuine fight for proof of how our votes are actualized in the federal election. There should not be an electoral college. Like, these are the things that we should have been dismantling. I'm laughing to keep from crying. I'm laughing to keep from crying. Because I'll save it for my public seals announcement, what I want to say. Let's talk about climate change. Antivirus gave me a hug. Thank you for giving me a hug. You know, there's a phrase, I think it's in Norway. There's a phrase like that if someone says, like, how are you? That people will say, like, I'm up and not crying, which I think is real. That's it, man. I'm up and not crying, you know? I'm here, but where am I? When people ask me, how are you? I be like, man, I don't even really know. But the thing about voting is this. Okay. This is the last thing I'm going to say about voting. And when people say, I will continue to vote, our ancestors died for it. What I want to clarify for you is this. Our ancestors died for their rights as citizens in America. They didn't die in order to vote. They died because their rights were being denied. And the only way that they were able to actually exercise their rights as citizens was to be a part of the legislation movements of this country. And as citizens, they had a right to do that, but they were being denied that right in a myriad of ways that are being re-implemented today. So when we say, I will continue to vote because my ancestors died for it, I think we're doing our ancestors an injustice, because they didn't die because they were like, we want to vote. They were dying because they were being denied the right to their citizenship, and voting was the only pathway to really exemplifying that in a real way. Which brings me to the greater point that voting, again, was always, when this country was created, relegated to the rights of land-owning white men. This country was created under the auspices that land-owning white men were the only ones who really knew what is what. When we hear the recent, there was somebody that Trump just put in place who said that it really is capable white men that should be running things before anybody else. That's what they're saying. When they say capable white men, they're saying landowning white men. That is their belief. That is their constitutional belief, that the Constitution as it exists before the Civil War is the purest form of what America was supposed to be. That's their actual vision. Women having no rights, people outside of landowning white men being forced to do the labor that serves landowning white men. So the whole thing of voting continuing to be in place, I believe, is because the goal is to eventually subfuse. Is that the word I'm looking for? To eventually make it so that the only ones left to be able to vote are landowning white men. So instead of just completely eradicating the concept of voting altogether, which would probably create an actual revolution in real time, they're just chipping away at it over time to bring it back to where it was in the beginning. So when we talk about voting, of course, the act of voting has its merits. 1000%. Do not get me wrong in that. And of course, again, on a local and state level, voting has a bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Transparency than we can say on the federal level. But in the concept of what the United States is as an existing place, it 100% has always been about landowning white men. And they have 100% felt like anyone who has been granted rights in addition to them is essentially chipping away at their power. And that is where their whole identity lies, in possession of power. So there's no like singular way to look at voting. And in all of this is Israel. So whenever anyone talks to me about voting or about Kamala, about Democrats, etc., my next question to them is, okay, what about Israel? Because if you're not including Israel into the way that you are viewing the whole thing, then you have an incredibly skewed view. It's like having glasses, but you have one side of them blacked out. You can only see down the barrel. You can only see through a truncated version of things. And that is what so many of us have been on. We have been within this truncated version of our commentary. And so we think we're having these real deep discussions, and we're not talking about anything. We're not talking about anything. So we have to acknowledge these things. Yes, vote. particularly if it feels right to you and good to you, vote. But we can't keep having conversations in the past context while we're in current realities. It's silly. The past is supposed to give us clues to the present, not to be mimicked. But ultimately, Reese says, no superpowered country and by proxy government will be willing to break ties with Israel in terms of partnership and allegiance. At present, I mean, that's, but that wasn't always the case. And so that's the thing. That wasn't always the case. And that is why Adrian said, who said anything about willing? Reese, your England manners and politeness, your England manners and politeness are showing up. Roland Martin, I love how you spelled his name, said that the Trump administration is trying to reemerge the Redeemers movement. But yeah, but that's what MAGA and the Tea Party was always. That they were always the Redeemers movement. Yes, they've always been the Redeemers movement. They were burning effigies of Barack Obama across the street from the White House lawn. And they were allowed to. I want to make this contextually clear for you. They were burning effigies of Barack Obama, and they were allowed to. Okay? But when Jamel Hill said something about Donald Trump, he got her fired. So Gada Yassin says, voters turnout is unfortunately linked to services in communities. The most important part is showing up. Submitting a ballot is good for your neighborhood. Protest by submitting a blank ballot. So this is what I mean by the difference between like local and state, right? Local and state. And also because the people on the local level that are running for office typically have to run on much more specific policy points. They have to run on much more direct connections with the community in order to be elected. So here's someone, I said what I said in 1974. All right, hey folks, here's something to think about. I was born in 1974. My parents, 1951 and 57. My grandparents, 1926. These are the slave owners' offspring at work. But yes. And so folks may not know what the Redeemer movement is. So thank you, CO, Voice of Dissent, Power to the People, praying mantis emoji. They said, I had to look it up, but FYI, the Redeemer movement in the U.S. was a political movement in the 19th century led by white Southern Democrats aiming to overthrow Republican-led Reconstruction governments and restore white supremacy in the South. It emerged in the 1870s as federal support for Reconstruction weakened. Now, when you're thinking like Republican governments, remember, as I said yesterday, reminder that the Republican government was the government of Abraham Lincoln. Republicans were of Abraham Lincoln. They were by and large for the dismantling of slavery, for the economic wealth, because slavery and economics was not making sense for the whole of the United States. That is what the reality is. And then that flipped in the 60s. Okay? Now, yes, Kashan, local elected officials can be problematic too. All of them have to be investigated and researched heavily, 1,000%. I don't ever want to lose that. But the reality of our existence here in the United States is that we just have a lot of people talking that don't know what they're talking about. And I used to be amongst those people, and I was influenced by those people to parrot their talking points until I did more of my own research outside of that silo. And once I started to do my own research, it really began to reveal to me the ways in which my value system was not represented in the work of establishment Democrats and such. So we see when we read, manufacturing consent, we understand that the news and mainstream media, we understand that it is not made for us to learn enough to resist. We understand that. We understand that it is made to persist. It is mainstream media at its core is for that purpose. I come from mainstream media. I was on The Real. I was on HBO. I quote unquote made it. And I left because I am not that. And I won't continue to be that. And I was absolutely told, if you want to do this, you got to be this. So we understand that those spaces are for certain people that are going to talk about certain things. And I want to make it abundantly clear that I don't by any means think all of those people are aware that they're being used. No, they think that they are actively doing the work of change. They do, but that's part of the indoctrination. Someone asked, besides Chomsky, what other references have helped me? Honestly, there are, well, when we just, Carl Sagan has helped me. Basically just like socialist Instagrammers have helped me have a better grasp and effectively understand the way capitalism exists as a weapon. Angela Davis, the book How Democracies Die, the series Black History, Freedom, and Love on Masterclass. And you know what's one of the biggest resources that helped me? Is those who tried to hurt me. That's been one of the biggest resources that helped me. Watching the things that were said by those who tried to hurt me and me being able to further question based on things that they're saying. Like things trying to undermine and demean what I'm saying, and the language that they're using made me look at that like, wait, what? So, and if I'm being honest, I really will. I have a book list on my page. I mean, on my Patreon. My memory is not what it used to be when it comes to names. For some reason, names are the first thing that my memory has like gotten funny with. I still remember lyrics. I still remember book titles, but names I struggle with. So that's why sometimes you'll see like names when people come on here like are misspelled, or like, dang, I mean, with Nikki High, I just created a whole other last name for her. So, that's something that I don't know. I've just have not been great at, but, and Palestinians were a great resource for me. The Palestinian people, in watching what they were experiencing and doing research around that, but then also Palestinian activists and organizers and how they were framing the Palestinian experience within the context of the American experience of Black people, the American experience of Indigenous people, the global experience of Indigenous people, because then you start digging deeper into understanding how those things really happened and how those things continue to happen. Then you start digging deeper into then you start digging deeper into, well, what is it about these people that are so triggering to these other people. And you start finding and realizing, like, this is not as convoluted as you may have once thought. I ultimately believe that the indigenous people of this planet were stewards of the earth, and they believed earth to be God, and thus they protected the earth. And then there came along people who decided that their riches were going to come from the earth. And so it was incredibly effective to then move God from the earth to the sky so that they could mine the earth. And then it became incredibly effective to move people from those physical lands so that they could mine the earth. Meanwhile, people were living in full existences of civilization by protecting the earth. People all over this world were living in full existence of civilization by protecting the earth. And then there came a particular people that said, nah, we gonna take from the earth. And in order to do that, we got to make it so that anyone who knows the earth and understands the earth and protects the earth is a witch, a savage, and somebody that needs to be murked. I have a whole deeper thoughts on this as well. But, religion as leverage for control is one thing. I do also believe that religion as an effective tool for the mining and the graping of the actual planet has been super duper effective. People used to protect the earth because they saw it as their life giver, aka God. Once that was removed, people were not protecting the earth in the same way. They weren't. They might protect their quote unquote land because it's their own land that they own. But before that, it wasn't land that you own. It's land that you are a steward of. I don't own my pets. I am their steward. They are here to protect me in ways, and I'm here to protect them in ways. It is the connection to nature. Raina B beat me to it. It's the connection to nature. If they make it so that we don't care about animals and they can use animals to make money, you know what I mean? It's whatever. It's deep. When did people think the earth was God? Some people still think the earth is God. They pray to the earth. They have gods. Okay? Ooh, that's weird. That was a weird statement. And they said that with a chest. Like I'm just pulling stuff out my neck. Thank you. I was just about to get into Mayans, but they said that with such with such earnestness. That was trippy. But that's what I mean. Like, you see, they said that without any irony. Without any irony. And I want to make it clear too that maybe you weren't saying that in the way that I'm taking it, but we're watching a chat, and so I'm just taking it as it is. So if you want to make sure that I don't take what you're saying literally or without having to without having to do any interpretation, you may need to add a couple more words, right? So if that was a genuine question, I feel like a way that I may have been able to understand it clearer is to just have presented it as, what are some examples of civilizations that have considered God as the earth? So anyway, you guys, I guess we're not going to talk about climate change today. It's been an hour. I've been sitting here talking for an hour. I've been sitting here talking for an hour. Danny, this is annoying when people do this. That seems genuine. Based on what? Based on what? like where you're sitting in your house right now, anything can be taken in any kind of way. That seemed genuine. Ugh. You all are an interesting bunch. And oh yeah, I know what I was gonna do. I was gonna do this. My PSA.
Amanda Land.
PSA. I believe that Black folks who are upholding the Democrats or just even the concept of democracy are doing so with the best of intentions in many cases. Okay. I do. Because historically, Black people have been the most dedicated to seeing this nation actually live out the creed that it was supposedly based on. Life, love, and liberty. What is it? Liberty, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That all men are created equal. Black people in this nation, with our bodies, with our babies, have continuously held the United States' feet to the fire to show up the way it says that it was going to show up. However, at a certain point, there has to be reconciliation of the reality versus the illusion. When the United States was created, the people who created it were owning slaves. That's a reality. When they said all men are created equal, that's an illusion. By nature of of how they were literally living in existence, they did not believe that all men are created equal. They had a very particular vision for what that meant in terms of men. So at a certain point, we have to reconcile that the version of democracy that we think we're upholding was never intended. We have continuously attempted, in somewhat successful ways at times, but we have continuously attempted as Black people in this nation to keep America honest to that assertion, to basically force them to actually carry out the illusion they proposed, but in real time. I believe that at this point, we should be no longer ascribing to that effort. I believe that to be a futile effort. It reeks to me of the work that so many of us do who align ourselves with abusive relationships that seek to breadcrumb us in order to keep us believing the illusion they indoctrinated us into to form our bond. When you date a narcissist, they love bomb you because it forms the bond. You deserve to be loved. You want to be loved. You are giving and nurturing, and you want to give that to somebody who deserves it. And so they give you that to make you feel that, to see that, to say that they see your value, and they hook you. And you have seen a version of them that you are like, this exists. That was an illusion. That was the version of them that needed to exist in order to indoctrinate you to their will. And if you are not aware of your own codependency, then you become a part of a cycle of abuse. But you will tell yourself it's just phasal. They're just doing this now, and then we have a string of time where it's nice. And then they buy you a gift or they pass a law. And then they go back to their abuse, but you're like, no, but remember back when y'all did that one thing before? Let's do that again. And so that is how the rhythm of a relationship between a narcissist and a codependent operates. Until the codependent says, you know what? My value is no longer dependent on you showing up correctly. And in order for me to actually live my value, in order for me to actually exist in my worthiness, I have to disconnect and disassociate the illusion of you from it being an example of my value. That is what Black people in America, I believe, have to do. I believe that Black people in America have been, hoodwinked, bamboozled, all the things into believing that America actually showing up in the way that it was supposed to, by nature of its own illusion and the words that it used, is somehow going to give us value. Because then it will be the country that we deserve. And the truth of the matter is we deserve better. Which is why you see so many Black radicals leave, because we deserve better. But it is unrealistic that we should all leave. And it's really not practical. However, we should leave, I believe, the idea that this is an America we need to save. When the truth is, there is a country that we need to make on our own terms. PSA. It's been a day. I had a lot on my mind. And Kashawn sums it up so succinctly. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Facts. Shout out to everybody who showed their love with supers today. You know what's crazy is y'all was talking about how I'm spitting and ain't nobody dropped no supers. Vanessa came through because she always come through. Okay? Vanessa came through because she always come through. But for all the dang, you on one today. Y'all ain't dropped no supers for the kid. Want to remind you that I will be in New York City on Saturday with my show, What Would the Ancestors Say? Performing live at Lincoln Center on 62nd and Broadway. And if you want to see the show, if you want to make sure that you get in, you need to make sure that you get there by 6 o'clock. This is a fact. You need to make sure that you get there by 6 o'clock. And I don't want you to get there and then be mad when you got there at 6:30. Okay? I don't want you to get there and be mad when you got there at 6:30. I don't want that to happen. Now, what I will also let you know is that I have meet and greet tickets available. The show is free. The Q&A after is free. However, I get my financial support for the work via a small fee from Lincoln Center, as well as the support of you all. I will have merch available. I will have, again, meet and greet available. Your meet and greet comes with a What Would the Ancestors Say fan, like this one right here. A signed What Would the Ancestors Say fan. And, of course, a picture and a meet and greet with yours truly. Let me sing for y'all. Show your love. Show your love. Show your love. Show your love. Remember, y'all, We are the people, baby. Show love for the people, baby. If you come for me, I will come back. Don't come for me unless I send for thee. If you come for me, I won't be tabbed. If you come for me, I will not send for thee. Yeah. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la. Thank you for the supers. You guys are super. Thank you for the supers. You guys are super. Yes, you are. And you know, I end my show, what would the ancestors say, with this song, and I want you to listen to the lyrics. We are stardust, floating on the waves of ancestral emission. We are tomorrow, today, lost souls with so much unsaid to say. And that's that. "30 seconds of stillness. I enjoyed laughing and learning with you. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And tell your friends. Also, listen to the podcast. It's available everywhere pods are casted. Listen ad-free by subscribing to Patreon, Amanda Seals. Come on and join the Seals Squad. Views from Amandaland. Live 10 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Wednesday, with content on Thursday and Friday at YouTube Amanda Seals TV.
Smart Bunny and